Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome as we are here for the 2024 Major Series for the virtual Dutch Grand Prix, live from the virtual Circuit Zandvoort in beautiful Dutchland as we get ourselves ready to go. I'm Taylor Burris here along with Sheldon Atkins and our producer Austin Derbyshire as we get to see the 2023 Formula One cars battle it out here for 72 laps around this beautiful circuit. Sheldon, this circuit is one of the only Formula One circuits with significant banking that will test the limits of each and every single one of these drivers who will do battle here tonight.
I'll tell you, banking's probably the only thing that I'm going to have a whole lot of familiarity with. First time getting the opportunity to cover open wheel, really, since we did the Indy 500 here for the Major Series. And definitely the first time even laying eyes on Circuit Zandvoort. So really excited to see what these guys have in store for us tonight. The Major Series always puts on a great show, and I'm expecting no less from these fellas this evening.
Absolutely. Of course, we are here in the Netherlands at Circuit Zandvoort. This track will test the limits of each and every single one of these drivers here tonight. We are currently watching the last few moments of qualifying here. Currently, right now, it's a beautiful day right here on the coast of the Zandvoort as they work their way around. They are just warming up, getting a final few moments of practice before we turn them loose for qualifying, to where we will determine the top drivers going into the top split, while the bottom half of the field will go into the second split. 75 degrees is the air temperature. 72 is the track temperature here as we watch them rocket through the bankings and working their way through. This track undulates very much so, and we will see a lot of great passing opportunities as we work their way through for 72 laps as we go on board with a couple of drivers and work their way through as they try to set themselves up to set the fastest possible lap around the circuit. Currently working here on board with one of our drivers as they try to see. We'll see if we can pick up a lap and give you a little bit of a turn-by-turn significance of this circuit as they work their as the checker flag will come out, so we'll see what happens here. But qualifying about to commence for these drivers, and they will then do battle on this 2.6 mile circuit and see who will set the fastest lap in qualifying. As the checker flag is out, it is time for qualifying here today for the next few moments. We will determine who will be in the tops, who will be in the bottom split here in the Majors 2024 Tour. And this is the last major event other than the Iron Warrior event that will be happening later on in the month of December. Not the finale, but it will be one of those events that we got to keep an eye on here as drivers make their way out onto the circuit to start their opening laps.
I'll tell you, from a little bit that we saw there, these guys in their warm-up, cutting laps around here, this place kind of reminds me of a little bit more of a technical elevation change heavy version of to hit it for a homer for you and I, Taylor, of Riverside Speedway back in the day.
It really does. It's a very high speed, high pace circuit. You can carry a lot of speed and momentum around this circuit with these low downforce, high performance Formula One cars as they work their way around the circuit. Of course, we are going to be utilizing a very significant version of the Formula One cars that we have. It's one of the newer additions that we received about a couple of seasons ago. It is none other, as I look and make sure, it is the Mercedes-AMG W13E Performance. And of course, this spec car is a 1,070 horsepower vehicle, just about 1,750 in pounds. And this car is going to provide a lot of great racing action here. We see how well Formula One racing has been in the 2024 season, and we look to see it continue on here in the virtual world with these drivers as we go on board with one of them as they make their way out of the Tarzan corner, heading over to the Gerlebach, and as we are on board with Jake Fox, a well-known, reputable driver, as he is looking to try to set his fastest lap around the circuit. And so far, he is trying to see if he can get pole. He set fastest lap in practice earlier this morning, and he goes off track, so that's going to mess up his qualifying attempt here in this opening moment. We are now
right
on board
with Nick Kuhn way wide through that corner there.
Yeah, we will see quite a bit of missing wings and front wheels coming off if drivers don't make it into corner entry quickly. On board now with Joseph Homan, who is trying to start his flying lap around the circuit, goes on to the gravel a little bit, hits the grass, sets himself up here in this long sweeping corner as they work their way through. This here is a very tricky section. It's the lowest banking corners, a lot of areas to where you can think you can go a little further, but you have to be careful of where you set the car up and try to put pressure on as they work their way through the circuit. And then you head over towards the S's that are just up ahead, the Hans Erst corners that are very tricky. You have a lot of banking in this section and easily have to be careful before you make the long run over into the Ari Lyondike corner. This hard sweeping bank corner can be a lot of high speeds, great passing opportunities for any driver if they get the toe of the draft. And already Brian Barnes, car number 4, has set the fastest lap of the race with a 1:11.844. Then you have Jason McSparron, Craig Tilson, and Damian Colte and Mark Santana, your top 5. Bruce Jones now moves up to 5th position with that qualifying time. And we're looking at about a 2-second gap as now Don Dolson moves up to P2 with a 1:12.445. Oh, big trouble right there for one driver who goes. Big close call as that was in front of the driver of Don Dolson, the only Canadian driver entered into tonight's race that we have in this session. As we watch on with Brian Barnes, the American, trying to get himself set up as Jake Fox, the Australian, goes to the top of the leaderboard with a 1:11.57. Excellent lap time to kick off this qualifying session. 15 minutes to go for these drivers.
A quick question for you before we get too far into the evening. What kind of tools do we have in the toolbox of these things? Like I know we got you said, 1,070 horsepower?
Yes.
Which is ridiculous considering I'm pretty sure these things are on a 4-cylinder nowadays, aren't they? With hybrid?
Yeah, there is a hybrid, and there is a lot of different hybrid technologies that these drivers, if they have it mapped on their button boxes or on their steering wheel to help them propel, you have the fact that you have DRS zones activated for these drivers. There you see all the dials and knobs that you can utilize in the car to help you get around this circuit. You also have to be careful with ECU as well as other forms of hybrid technology on these cars. We're going to see a lot of drivers, but the biggest one also, I have to say for Sheldon, is the tire advantage. These drivers have multiple different compounds to utilize in this race if they choose to. They have a hard compound, a medium compound, and then a soft compound, which can be determined by how the car's tires are. If you see a red circle around the tires like we see right now with Don Dolson, and it means that's the softest possible compound to get around this circuit, which provides the fastest way to get around with these tires, but the quickest to wear out. Yeah, everyone will be using the soft compound for qualifying session because it is the fastest and is very easy to get around here and a lot of grip, but it won't last too long. So this is where the strategy will come into play of when these drivers will utilize it, as we are riding and watching on with Nick Kuhn, currently your pole sitter, with a 1:11.288.
That doesn't surprise me a whole lot, man. The few races that I have had the opportunity to cover for majors this year, Nick has been a rocket just about every week.
Absolutely. Jason McSparron also sitting in second, along with the driver Brian Barnes and Jake Fox. Those are the only 4 drivers who have broken into the 1:11 bracket, as more drivers are trying to log some laps here and set times. We have 14 drivers who have taken time here. Joseph Homan, the last car who has set time. We're still waiting on about half a dozen drivers. And Brian Scribner now goes up towards the top to 3rd with a 1:11.378. He's just under a tenth of a second off the pace of Nick Kuhn as we watch on with the driver of Brian Barnes. Brian Barnes trying to work his way around the circuit to see what he could do in this race, seeing if he can set himself up. As we watch on, he'll go off the track a little bit, gathers it back up, but he's going to have to reset here with those tires not going to have enough grip and enough pace to set a fast time. One thing also, Sheldon, I've noticed here is these drivers, when they take the high banks, they're going to run right up against that outside wall as much as they can when they come through that first high bank corner. Everywhere else, they're going to try to stick to the bottom to help build speed and momentum up to set themselves up off corner exit. Jake Fox trying to propel his way further up the running order. He is about 2/10 off the pace, or a quarter off the pace here for these drivers, as he is trying to set a fast lap at the moment. He's on pace to do so if he can hit his marks here through the chicanes, sets himself up through 9 and 10, and then makes the run towards the Ari Lyondike corner before heading over into Tarzan.
It looks like a lot of fun to run around, man.
Absolutely, a lot of fun.
All the different opportunities you have to set up corners and set up passes with all this extra banking.
Want to try to stay middle groove through that first corner in Tarzan before you come up to the second couple of corners. You next have the Gertelock, and then, of course, the Herzog, who is next up, which we're on right now, before making that short run downhill, just with all the twists and turns, over to the Rob Stolemaker, and then heading down the hill through the Shiblock. Right there, you'll see the coast, and also sandy conditions here, so grip is going to be critical as they work their way over to the Masters corner. A lot of chaos in front of Jake Fox as he tries to negotiate that, coming through turns 9 and 10. Does a great job to avoid all the chaos that's there as he tries to set himself up before they head over to the Hans Erst chicanes. Oh my goodness. Particles and debris all around him as he tries to avoid it.
I think the halo just saved another life there.
Absolutely.
That was insane. Potentially a 1x here for Fox too, so that
will count toward his time. Let's see if he is able to improve on his time or move up the standings. He comes across the line. No improvement because of that 1x that he received. So unfortunately, he'll have to go out there and do it again. Ten minutes left to go. We are still waiting on at least 4 drivers yet to qualify. The 2 Americans of Scott Kukas and Ronald McPherson, the Australian of Robert Northway, and then the couple of drivers here as the
huge crash.
The UK Irish driver of Stuart Elder yet to qualify. Field now trying to work their way through as we are on board with Greg McEney, who is trying to get himself up to pace. Slow right now on this opening lap. Currently sits P14 in qualifying. About 3 seconds off the pace, actually a little more than 3 seconds off the pace, because Brian Barnes just went into the 1 minute 10 second bracket. Highest running car right now on track is Jake Fox in the 08 machine in his purple and black Mercedes. Field now working his way through. And then, of course, you have Joseph Homan, Mark Santana. Craig Tillison moves up to P8 with a big qualifying run. The 1:12.19. Great run for him right now as temperatures, track temp 79 degrees, a little toasty, but not that bad for the most part. We'll see if that improves a little bit as we get into race conditions. Just under 10 minutes to go in qualifying to try and set the determination of who will be in the top split and who will be in the second split broadcast, which we will cover here tonight on Grid Vision. Homan and Jake Fox are looking to set some good lap times here in the closing minutes. Can Homan move up? Bruce Jones moves up to P6 with a great run, a 1:11.620. So he is on the charge right now into the top 6 as we keep an eye and see if Joseph Homan can improve on his lap times a little bit further. down into the braking zone. He will go through the Hans Ernst corners before making the run over to the Ari Lyondike corner, and he is going to try to get as much speed as possible through here as he tries to power his way through. Of course, that is the DRS zone when you come through the Ari Lyondike corner and off corner exit. That's where we'll see a lot of the drivers try to utilize the DRS and trying to see if they can make some passes on their competitors across the line for Homan. No improvement. We'll sit P7 here for the moment.
A little bit of lockup right there coming to the first bank corner.
A little bit indeed. That's going to cause some issues in handling and the grips of those tires. We pick up Timothy Klaus in 8th position. You're right on board with him as he is trying to negotiate through the corners and set himself up for a bit of a run, as he is trying to get up further in the running order. Coming now to just under 7 minutes to go for these drivers. They have a little bit of time still. They can at least get 2, maybe 3 good laps before time expires here. But you got to do it quickly. And I have a feeling Kukas for McPherson, Northway, and Elder, they may wait till the very end before determining when it'll go out on the track or not.
Might be a good call, too. You see a little bit of cloud cover working itself in over the speedway. Second half of the track kind of getting a little bit darker. That means there's going to be more grip on the track surface, which more grip, faster lap times. So maybe a good call to kind of stay out there and let these guys run out there and burn it down once early.
Absolutely. A couple of movers and shakers right now as we see Damian Colte move up to P9. And for the driver of Joseph Homan, gets around Bruce Jones for the 6th position once again. So those two are going to be trading spots for positions as we are still watching Timothy Klaus, trying to see if he can improve on his lap time. He's the gatekeeper, in a sense, to the 111 bracket, as everyone behind him is slower than a 111 second minute or 111 here around the circuit. And we'll see if anyone else can try to break that barrier before the race or qualifying is completed here today. As the drivers set themselves up right ahead of him is a couple more drivers who are also going to try to set fast laps. And it looks like McPherson does go out onto the track. He sets a 1:15.78, so he's got some work to do, but he got plenty of time to try to set fastest lap. We're still waiting for Kukas, Northway, and Elder to set fast times here in this qualifying session.
We'll say Barnes is in a zip code all his own with that 110.7 sitting up there at the front.
He is absolutely just poised, ready to take the fight here and possibly come home with a strong finish here in this championship. He's still got a little bit of work to do. He's got to get through tonight's action in order to get some much-needed points for his championship run.
Good news is, blue and yellow machine be pretty easy for us to pick out up here in the booth. Well,
absolutely.
The guys in the other booth, but
so currently right now in the Pacific Sports Silver, it's Austin O'Neill, Jake Fox, Bryce Roberts, Joseph Homan, Timothy Klaus, your top 5 in the championship. Then you have Greg McKinney, Mark Santana, Jason Lotridge, Stuart Elder, and Brian Scribner, your top 10. Of course, we do have a couple of those drivers race or qualifying in this session, so if they're able to get up into the top split, that's going to be a big points gain for them. If they're going to be in a split we're covering, it's still going to be decent points, but they have to make sure they have a good run in order to do it. A little bit of a lockup right there for Jake Fox as they enter the chicane.
a huge lockup, but decent recovery, though, so able to get the power down without having too much of an issue on corner exit. Not going to help the times too much, but hey, it's a good feeling when you can blow through the corner and still keep the thing straight, because God knows, in the F4s this week at Lime Rock, I have found every which way you could possibly spin it.
Well, that lockup didn't cost too much because he moves up to P2 with a 1:10.97.2, just under, a little over 0.2 of a second off your pole position of Brian Barnes right now. So he is in the hunt. Nick Kuhn right there is also trying to pick up some spots as we watch Homan cross the line. No improvement here for him. And here comes Nick Kuhn with 3 minutes to go. He's at least got one good lap to set before qualifying expires.
I'll tell you, man, Nick is, as we watch him completely blow it off the corner here into the sand trip, but That's one driver that has perplexed me as long as I've been around iRacing. Is he'll just show up out of the blue and random race at Martinsville and just absolutely dog the field when NASCAR goes there, and then you see him here being just absolutely competitive in everything that the majors has put together this season for him.
Absolutely. I
Just
mean, every time I race against him in the short track world, you see him being an absolute dominating performance that he puts on, and he knows how to get around those short tracks. But then you see him, right, like you said, here on an F1 circuit in an F1 car and still being competitive. One of the most well-rounded drivers, I have to say, on the service, as we're on board with Jason McSperrin as he tries to work his way through the S's.
right now we're hearing that Tilson is the last man in currently.
So they're looking to take the top 11, possibly. Well, out of this session, they're looking to take the top 11 from this group, from 12th on back. So we're going to keep an eye on the bubble spot between Tillotson and Santana. Those are the two spots who will transfer over into the top split broadcast, and those from Santana on back will go in this split into the second split broadcast. So we'll keep an eye to see who survives this one here as they work their way through. Try to keep an eye on Santana. Is he out on track? I believe he is. But does he have enough time?
I'll tell you what, if I'm Santana, I'm not going to be pushing it too hard here.
We're on board with him.
That competition level and that top split, that looks pretty crazy.
Absolutely. As he comes across the line, does he improve? No, he does not. What about Phil Otto, Greg McEnany, and Steve Paulison? They got a couple of more positions they have to make up. Otto is about almost half a second off the pace from the qualifying time of Tillotson, so he's got some work to do with 44 seconds left to go. This is going to be his final lap probably as he comes out of the final corner. Can he improve on it? Across the start-finish line, he will go. Does not improve. But Greg McEnany does improve. He moves up into the 10th spot, pushing now the driver. Oh, trouble for one driver. That was McEnany, who is now in. That now moves Don Dolson to the transfer spot. Tillotson is just a few hundredths of a second off the time that he has to beat. Tillotson needs to try to pick it up. If he's out there, he's got only a couple of seconds as the checkered flag is out in qualifying. And I think it's safe to say all cars are off the track. And it will be Don Dolson who will advance to the top split broadcast here tonight.
Just by 300ths of a second, too. That is...
Oh, we got a couple of movers. Bruce Jones moved up a couple of spots. Trying to see here. There might be a couple of more drivers who are still out there. Phil Otto comes down. Nope, they're coming down pit road. They get an extra minute. Phil Otto's trying to see if he can run, maybe. He's got a minute, but I think he's slowing down to where he will call it. It is over. Qualifying has completed. And for Brian Barnes, he sets a fast lap and your pole sitter from this event. Great job for him. And for Don Dolson, he will advance also to the top split broadcast. And of course, we are going to take a step aside, get ourselves set up for tonight's racing action. Thank you for tuning in to the 2024 Majors Pacific second split qualifying session to determine who will be in which division split. We'll be back here momentarily for the start of the Dutch Grand Prix live on Grid Vision. And we welcome you back from that brief or a little bit of a break as we had to set the field for determining who was going where into each split. And we are here for the second split, the main event for the virtual Dutch Grand Prix from Zandvoort. Once again, it's myself, Taylor Burris, with Sheldon Atkins and our producer, Austin Derbyshire. As we get set to do battle here, momentarily we will turn each of these drivers loose for 71 laps as qualifying is underway, or practice is underway. We'll go ahead and give you our picks for tonight's race. For me, I'm going to go with the number 17 of Wayne Hutchinson to take the win. How about you there, Sheldon?
Well, I'm going to have to go with that 5 machine. I'm going to have to go with Bruce Jones. Looked really good in qualifying. I think he's going to be good in the race.
Absolutely. And then, of course, our producer picks Scrivener to be the one who will come out on top. Let's go ahead and give you your starting lineup for today's racing action as they make their way out onto the grid. Quickly is Jason McSparron and Wayne Hutchinson on the front row, followed by Timothy Klaus and Brian McCreevy in row number 2. Row 3 will see the drivers of Don Dolson and Brian Scrivener, with Bruce Jones, Adam Johnson, Damian Colty, Greg McLeany, Jeff Eddy in 11th position, Ronald McPherson in 12th. Moving on through the field, Scott Kukas, Craig Tillison, Mark Santana, Phil Otto, and Stephen Paulison rounding out your 17-car field. Sorry for the quick there we had to go through because this is standing start, and it's going to see who will come out and make their way into the grid as they set themselves up and waiting for everyone to enter, waiting on one car. I think we're good to go, set for 72 laps here today. With these Mercedes, this is going to be critical. Lights are out, and away we go as they make the run into turn one. A couple of cars almost making contact on the start of the race, but it is McSparron and Klaus who will easily make the getaway, heading off through turn one.
Really chaotic launch there for a handful of these guys, not able to really get the power down the way they wanted to, but everybody kind of straightening it out. Single file through the pack right now as it sits. A little bit of a fight happening a little further in the back of the pack, though. You see Colty under fire from McHenry.
That's the battle for the 9th position. Colty, though, will be able to hold off for the moment as they work their way through and coming through that long sweeping corner. But it is Jason McSparron leading the charge here. He has a significant lead of 1.2 seconds and growing as we're on board with the number 22 American driver leading the charge. He's got Timothy Klaus and Wayne Hutchinson right there sitting second and third on the podium right at the moment as they make the run. Trouble for one driver, though. That's Ronald McPherson, who's off pace.
You're going to replay here. You see McPherson setting off into the corner, goes a little wide.
Oh, looks like a little bit of connectivity issue for one driver that will push him off the track and unfortunately drop him to the 15th position as McSparron has checked out, but Klaus, Hutchinson, and McCreevy, they're going to have us a little fight for second place here.
Huge lockup there for Klaus.
Good lockup. Oh, trouble for one driver. That was Scrivener, and he is out of the race, unfortunately, after only a couple of laps.
Nothing better than the commentator curse.
Yeah, it's producer curse
tonight.
Oh, just lost it out of the corner and loops it around head on into the barrier. A tough break indeed for Scrivener, out in the early stages of the race.
Right on board here. I think it's just a case of gets to that throttle just a little quick. You know, iRacing and elevation changes, not a good combo, and unfortunately, that's going to send him to the house for the night.
It is, unfortunately. So that will change a whole lot here for regards to situation. And as we see, McSparron has checked out to a 2.4 second lead. And here comes Klaus with a run. And he's got Hutchinson and company behind him. McCreevy, and then you have the Australian of Adam Johnson right there. So you have 2nd through 5th battling for position.
Klaus right now benefiting from that little bit of clean air he has there with that huge gap between him and the race leader. 2nd place Hutchinson, though, really trying to get that momentum down coming through the corner. Got a really good run there for, looked like through center, but kind of falling back to nothing right now as we come back down the back straightaway here.
Watching Wayne Hutchins, who is trying to lead the charge here at the moment in 3rd position. as he's trying to hold on. He's got a little bit of a run, and he could get some help with the DRS zone as they work their way through. Great run as he tries to pick up some time, tries to send it a little deep, picks up a couple of car lanes, and we can confirm Scribner does have a fast repair, possibly, so he will be able to rejoin, but unfortunately, he'll be multiple laps down.
Yeah, just a long tow to get that thing back on pit road. But good news, good night for points. It's 72 laps here. You know there's going to be a handful of knockouts before this thing's done. So
Yeah,
you see
because
one lagging like crazy back there further in the back.
yeah, that was not a good look right there. As we have a pass for second, here comes Wayne Hutchinson to the inside, and Klaus is around. Klaus is around there, and Tarzan. One other car goes off track. Tough break right there, but Klaus will have to gather it back up and drops all the way back to sixth position. We'll take a look at the replay, but just overshoots it by the looks of it. Right on board.
Right here. Huge dive from Hutchinson there, and man, that thing was around before he even got in the corner. That is crazy.
That just shows how tricky these cars are. These are probably some of the most hardest open-wheel cars to learn how to drive on the entire service. For the longest time, it was the original, the W12 Mercedes that was originally on the service, and that was a tough one to drive and learn. But now these W13 machines, much more difficult, a lot of fun to drive, but I have to say, just learning how to properly handle around these circuits is incredibly difficult. As one driver almost goes head onto the barrier, that was Adam Johnson, who sits third position. Of course, one of the things we talked about in qualifying is that these drivers can utilize different tire compounds. The red lining is the soft compound, as we see right here, your top 7 utilizing the medium compound, which is that yellow tire, and then the white line is the hard compound. So this is going to be critical to see how this strategy will play out, because we will see these drivers come down to make a tire change, and we will see who changes tires. There you see the yellow compound as you're on board with Coltley. And there you see the white compound as you see on Jones. We may see some red tire compounds right there. Tillotson is one of them. It's a good opportunity if you're starting in the back, but the problem is, though, Sheldon, with these red tire compounds, they're only good for maybe 10, 15 laps compared to the medium or the hard compounds, which can go 30, 40 laps even.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd, starting in the back, I don't know if I'd really necessarily want to go for the soft compound because, I mean, you're going to burn a lot of tires just trying to work your way through the traffic, as well as you're going to be at a disadvantage because you are going to come in and throw on tires quicker, or else you're just going to deal with a substantial amount of fall off as these things start to get heat in them.
Yeah, you're going to have to keep an eye on that here as they work their way through. This is the battle for 8th position with Jones, Tillotson, Santana, and Otto. Throw in also Eddie in the mix. Nope, Eddie's a little further back, but Otto's right there. You see further back as they try to work their way through. There you see Philip Otto, who's trying to get a good run, trying to catch up into breaking into the top 10 here as they make the run down the front straightaway, heading into Tarzan. Pass for position between Jones and Tillotson will be able to make the move and move up a spot as he tries to get away from the driver of Jones for the moment.
Oh, Jones, heavy lockup again there. Really going to give it the advantage to Tillotson.
Yeah,
it's starting to walk away.
Yeah, Tillotson is starting to check out with those red tires. But the thing is, after a certain amount of laps, we will see the driver of Bruce Jones to close back in on Tillotson, because Tillotson is going to be struggling for grip with those red tires. Those tires are going to start falling off here in the next 10 laps or so. Ooh, a little bit of a slide right there for Jones. He's able to gather it back up and continue on, but so far, close call indeed for the number 5 machine. No changes up at the front of the field. It is a 3.8 second lead and growing for McSparran. Johnson was able to get around Wayne Hutchinson for second. So it is, of course, McSparran, Johnson, and Hutchinson, your top 3. And I have to say, Johnson and Tillotson are the biggest movers, picking up 6 spots since the drop of the green flag.
What tires is our leader on right now?
I believe our leader is on the yellow compound. Yeah, that would be the yellow, the medium compound. So
Yeah,
watch. Johnson is starting to stay in losing ground on your race leader. Hutchins is trying to catch back up, but those three have checked out on the competition by over 12 seconds now between them. So he's got a lot of work to do as we pick up McSparron leading the charge. We'll go a little further back for the battle for P5 between Klaus, McCreevy, Colty, who are all right here battling for the 5th spot. Klaus, who had early lap spin, he was now trying to recover. He has to deal with McCreevy, who's all over his back bumper, and make a run for him. He will do so, and here comes Colty with a good run.
Not able to make anything stick of it right now, though. Still following in the tire tracks of McGreevy. Here through the high banks of Zandvoort down to the front straightaway.
Here they go as we ride on board with Colty, and he will try to work his way through. And so far, he gets a good run. And so far, he's going to lose a little bit of time, though, to McCreevy. Goes right up to the outside lines to try to build some momentum. Got to be careful, though, with that quarter egg. The cars can get very light and tail happy when that car could easily loop around.
Yeah, looks like a pretty scary corner, knowing everything I know about elevation changes and banking fall off here on iRacing. See Colty kind of falling back now from that 68 machine McCreevy, but really good corner entry there for him. Close it back up, but not able to get the power down coming off.
Yeah, they're closing in on the 4th place driver of Don Dulson, the Canadian, who is trying to save a little bit, but also not try to lose too much ground. He's already lost quite a bit. 8 laps on the board for your drivers as we pick up Don Dulson in the green and black Mercedes. The only reason why we see them in the iRacing official colors or just these custom colors and not custom paints that we're normally used to seeing on the majors or any of the other broadcasts is that due to the fact that Mercedes has, here we go, though, pass for position. Klaus goes around to the inside and makes the pass utilizing the DRS zone and just easily excels his way up into the 4th spot.
That was a power move there, being able to get that thing through the corner as deep as he was without sliding the thing out. Good move there for Klaus, fighting back after that early race spin. Back up here into the 4th position. He fell back to, I believe, 6th. A lot of pace in that 80 machine. Right now you see Dolson under fire from McGreevy.
McCreevy is going to get a good run through here, but here comes Colty as well. He's also going to get a good run to try to stay in the toe of McGreevy as they try to keep pace with the top 5 here and not lose track of Timothy Klaus, who is also starting to try to check out on these 4 drivers.
McGreevy's starting to pull away just a little bit. Nice corners from him. A little bit of a rough line there through the S's, going to lose a little bit of time. Caught a little bit of the sand under the curbing.
And he's been making some big gains here as they work their way around the circuit. So far, so good, and I'm just been keeping an eye on these battles for position as here he goes to the inside. He will make the pass on Dolson.
Runs also. I'm wondering if Tillison's starting to fade a little bit. We saw him a little bit slower further back. Starting to lose a little bit of time to these guys in front of him. I think those reds might be showing the ghost here.
Absolutely, as we pick up Craig Tillison. He's doing a great job, but unfortunately, I have to say only a matter of time before those tires are starting to lose even more grip, but he's doing a good job of keeping it up and making sure he can gain some ground. He's 3 seconds back, though, from Colty. So by the time those tires start to fade is when probably he may catch the tail end of this group. Go a little further back between Dolson and Colty, and those two will start to try to do battle for position. Colty has a good run. He is currently trying to hold strong for the moment. And he's going to try to pull away here as they come out of the Ari Lyondike corner.
Oh, man. Huge snake down to the bottom.
Trying to break the draft as best as he can here, and as he works his way through, he will hold off the driver of Colty will hold off the driver of Dolson for the moment, but Dolson just really struggling for some grip here as we see Colty now starting to pull out just a little bit further ahead and trying to see if he can get some separation.
Yeah, Colty looked like he just pulled a crazy slingshot maneuver there on the straightaway to get this spot from Dolson. Now he's starting to run away with it. Already a 2-second advantage over the 04 machine of Dolson. So we work through this real tight technical sector of this circuit.
Absolutely. Don't look now, though, but Adam Johnson, the Australian, is closing in on Jason McSparren. It was at 3.4 seconds at one point. It's now down to 2.8 for the moment. So it's starting to break away a little bit. And Wayne Hutchinson, he's right there in the hunt as well. So your top three are starting to compound back together closer and closer. I have a feeling this could be an interesting fight for the lead before they get to their first round of pit stops. Good fight here between the second and third place drivers. A big run here for the driver, Wayne Hutchinson. He's going to try to make a run on Johnson for position. And as they do so, here they come around the circuit towards that downhill corner. Hutchinson gets a good run, but Johnson will be able to prevail for the moment. I say here in a minute or so, we're going to see Hutchinson making a pass on Johnson for that position in second. Oh, he goes wide. That could be a big opening here, but Hutchinson not close enough to make anything worse.
Hutchinson doing everything he can to put the pressure to the back of the 29 machine of Johnson. Johnson going to run away with it here, though, down the straightaway. Back into the sharp chicane.
Holds the line for the moment, and Johnson has a little bit of breathing room right now as they come out of Ari Lyondike corner. Good run through there. He's got a little bit of breathing room. Hutchinson trying to utilize that DRS zone. There you see the flaps coming in deployed. He's going to try to see if he can pull in closer and closer. And, yep, there goes the flap back in as they enter the braking zone. Good fight for position here as they work their way around the racetrack, and so far so good as they continue to do so. And it's going to be close, but so far Hutchinson just making sure he can hold on.
Right now, if you're that 22 machine of McSparren up there at the front, you're hoping that these two get crossed up, get side by side, charge and racing against each other so they can lose time so you can run away with it. And right now it looks like it's starting to fall towards plan for McSparren, because you're not seeing as huge a chunks taking out of that lead as we saw earlier. But as soon as I say that, McSparren, not a great corner there. Johnson's going to really start reeling in the gap. Now he's got him down to under 2 seconds.
He certainly does, and he's going to try to put the pressure on here as they work their way through. And so far, we ride on board once again with Johnson, and he is trying to close in on McSparren, and it is closing closer and closer here. And he is putting the pressure on, and he has enough time to do it and makes the run down the front straightaway, but he's got to worry about Hutchinson right there as well, who's ready to capitalize.
And I think as well as we're seeing Hutchinson hold pace with your second place car of Johnson, I think Hutchinson might have the best car in the field right now, at least at this point in the stint on tires. And I think a pass for second place at the bare minimal is inevitable. It just comes down to if Hutchinson can stay in it, stay with the consistency, and keep doing what he's doing right now.
He's going to try to keep doing what he's doing here, and he's going to keep on putting the pressure on. How about the run, though, that Johnson got out of the corner? He is setting some incredible lap times to keep up and try to catch up with McSparren. Last time by, he was setting some blistering pace. He set a 15.9 to compare to the McSparren's 16.5.
These guys are flying out here at the moment.
Yeah, so let's see how this, and they're already falling off anywhere between a second to 2 seconds right now here as we are 14 laps. So those tires, they got to be a little bit careful with how much they take care of it. But so far, they're going to keep on rolling as we ride on board with Johnson down the front straightaway. There you see the gap. Let's see what the times are. McSparren picked it up a little bit by 0.4 of a second to try and stay ahead. A little bit of a wobble right there by Johnson. He's got to gather it back up. This could open the door for Wayne Hutchinson to try to see if he can get a good run, but he loses a little bit of time off the corner.
We're looking at
Here,
Klaus.
yeah,
About
Klaus has
10
been
seconds
on a
back.
tear.
Yeah, he's about 10 seconds back from the second and third place battle, but doing a really good job being consistent, staying up here in the hunt. So those two up in front of him start getting to a point where they've raced too hard and mistakes are made. He can absolutely eat up into that advantage.
A little bit of a lockup right there by the driver of Bruce Jones. So he gathers it back up, but he is under pressure, though, from Jeff Eddy as he is trying to make up some ground there. And the Fernando Alonso helmet colors, I have to say, would be the best way to point out his colors. Jones right up ahead of him on the hard compound tires. Same thing with Eddy, so they can go a little bit longer compared to what we will see drivers like Tillotson, who is on those red tires. He's got to be careful with that, and we will determine when he will come down pit road. So far, so good, though, as those two will battle for the 9th spot, or 10th spot, I should say, as we go a little further back. Philip Otto and the driver of Stephen Paulison will battle for 12, as those two are in the same spot and looking to try to gain some ground.
Johnson really losing some time here now. Looks like those finally got the pass, though, made for second. Hutchinson moves himself up into P2 here. We're going to look at it here on the replay.
Let's see what happened here to Johnson, as Johnson has a good run through here. Hutchinson staying close, tucked up behind, but there you see the run in the DRS. It's a good run right there, as Hutchinson will easily pass Johnson for position and move up into second place.
It's so crazy, being a stock car fan like I am with, what we cover week in and week out for our regular. We get, 6-7 tries a year at road courses to run those and call them. And, you never think about making a move that bold in those heavy stock cars. And just seeing them do it here, every time, my heart skips a beat because I think they're going to go off the track. But obviously these cars so much lighter, so much more nimble and agile with all this extra downforce compared to what we normally call. It's impressive.
Absolutely, it is impressive. Oh, one driver goes around. That is going to be Colty. He gathers it back up. Big save for him. But that's going to cost him some valuable time, and those tires are not going to be too happy about that.
Yeah, but way better than the alternative, though, because that absolutely should have been a wreck. He had that car completely pointed directly into the inside wall and was still able to recover it. Great drive out of Colty to keep that thing straight. So we look at Tillotson a little bit further back. Still making those red tires work for the most part. I figured he'd be, one around, though.
That's Scott Kukas right there who went around. We'll take a look and see what happened to him. Scott Kukas heading down. He's been sitting in 15th here. Hits the curb a little too hard and loops it around.
Yeah, he got that got the kitty litter down there on the bottom underneath the curbing, and I slowed that left rear wheel down so much it just snapped the thing right around.
Unfortunate right there, but he will continue on. He's still going to sit in 15th as your leaders are now working their way through, and Experin continues to try to hold on with your race lead. He's got a 1.6 second advantage over Wayne Hutchinson, who is starting to close in a little bit as they work their way around the circuit.
Hey, what McSparren has done a really good job at playing with these guys. They reel him in a substantial amount. Next lap, he really puts the power down, gets back up on the wheel, maintaining that gap, doing a great job, doing everything he needs to do, and he's been so consistent while doing it. You haven't seen a mistake out of that 22 so far. I think he's just on a Sunday cruise right now, knowing that he's got a decent enough advantage to these fast guys behind him.
Absolutely. He's just making sure he hits his mark, and that's the critical thing with these Formula One cars. For someone like me and you, just like making sure you just stay on the pavement, not go into the green stuff at all, and not spinning it out is an accomplishment for us. But for these guys here who are in this race, just making sure that they hit their marks for the next 70-some laps here is incredible, and they're doing a great job of that as we ride on board with McGreevy, who sits in 5th, trying to hunt down Timothy Klaus for that 4th position. He's got the DRS. He's going to start closing in quickly as they make the run over to Tarzan Corner, and so far, he didn't deploy the DRS just yet, and he is going to try to get some big runs here as they come out of turn 1.
Seemed pretty confident in just the slipstream alone there and was able to really close that gap up fast. I thought he was on the DRS too, but just a really good final corner for him, coupled with the slipstream of the machine in front of him as you see him try to sneak his way in behind, close that gap a little bit to Klaus. Klaus holding strong, though, through the technical sections of this track.
He's doing a great job of keeping pace here and trying to work his way through. But McGreevy is trying to keep up as well with a good run. He is trying everything he can to make sure he stays tucked up in the slipstream when they enter the DRS zone like they have just done right here. And there you go. There you see it deployed. He's going to try to make a run here onto the back bumper of Timothy Klaus.
Necessarily the best section for it, though. He didn't see him really close up a whole lot of time.
There he goes back to deploy. You saw right there as he makes the run out of the final corner of Ari Leyendyke. He's going to try to do it here and make the run. He's got the toe and the DRS. And not able to make anything there into turn one. We'll see here how this plays out.
Trying to see him try to find some kind of way to make speed to get up to the rear bumper of Klaus. But Klaus is just, like I said, man, he's just doing such a great job being consistent. He knows that machine behind him is probably a little bit faster, but he's still making him have to work for it by just not hammering in any mistakes. But right now, the battle for the lead really starting to heat up. You see McSparren now starting to come under fire from Hutchison in second, and right behind Hutchison, Johnson's back in the picture.
Your top three separated by 1.5 seconds here. This is going to get exciting. Can these three drivers work it out? And Hutchison's going to try to make a run on your race leader here as they come into the DRS zone. There you see it deployed with the drone cam as he tries to keep up, gets a good run, sets it up to the inside. He will easily get around McSparren for the race lead as McSparren drops back multiple positions right there, or spots right at the moment, and loses a little bit of time on your race leader. Now, new race leader here in the 21st lap. And it is going to be Wayne Hutchison leading the charge.
Yeah, Hutchison with an incredible final sector. Past McSparren like he was basically standing still. I think those tires are really starting to fade on that 22 machine behind these guys.
Let's take another look at the replay here of how he was able to get it done. He sets it up, entering the DRS zone. McSparren goes a little bit too wide, but he just sets it into overdrive, finds the opening, looks to the inside, and will go side by side, and just looks like McSparren is standing still. Takes over the race lead.
Hutchison just blew by him like he was a lapper. You know it's not the case because McSparren has had this field on pace for the first 20 laps of the event. Hutchison running away, but here comes Johnson closing on that 22 machine of McSparren. And we know Johnson's got a fast hot rod this evening too.
Absolutely. Johnson last time by was almost a second faster than Jason McSparren right there. In fact, last time by, Wayne Hutchison set one of his personal bests with a 1:15.19 there. So he is absolutely getting it on as Johnson comes around McSparren for second and drops McSparren back to third.
Yeah, I think McSparren now has lost the handle on that machine. A little bit further back, you see McGreevy putting Klaus back under fire again. Just a couple tenths of a second separate these two, just about 2 car lengths. Here we are looking at Johnson and McSparrow. And back to Klaus. A little further back, see Tillison still making those reds work.
He's
sitting
doing
in
a great
6th
job.
position.
I mean,
I figured he'd have them things firing off by now, but man, he's just now coming to life.
Got a little lockup right there, but same thing that Colty did and Don Dulson, who is right there behind them. Those three are going to do battle here for the 6th spot as they try to come up to the top of the hill before cresting down. Just right there behind those barriers, you'll see the ocean right there. So he's got a little bit of work to do as we ride and watch with the drone cam from Dulson as he tries to find the opening he needs. Oh, sends it in deep, locks it up, gathers it back up. Colty gives him plenty of room. But a brave and heroic decision there by Don Dulson.
Yeah, I don't think that was a passing zone, but it became one.
Here they come down into the braking zone as Don Dulson now sets his sights on Tillison. Has trouble for 2 drivers, McKinney and it looks like Jones, getting together. Paulison almost has to get to the back bumper and has to check up. We'll take a look at the replay to see what happened, but that was chaos right there towards the midsection.
Oh, we had the producer curse earlier. Now we have the commentator curse.
Oh, right there. McKinney just gets into the rear tire of Jones, loops him around. Nothing significant by the looks of it for both drivers. They're going to keep on going, but that's going to be not the best situation for them as they have to gather it back up. And now with this situation, Wayne Hutchinson has pulled out to a 2-second lead and pulling away from Adam Johnson. McFerrin falling further and further back as well, as McGreevy is currently 6P4. Timothy Klaus, your top 5. We're going to step aside here and watch these drivers do battle. You're watching Grid Vision's coverage of the Pacific Majors Dutch Grand Prix as McFerrin comes down pit road. We'll see how this all plays out.
Guy who just before the green flag keys up his mic and asks, "Anybody got a setup?" Well, this is him. This is Adam, and hey, Adam needs some help. On the other hand, this guy over here, this is Steve. Steve is a solid racer and he knows his way around the garage. Steve's problem is time. With a job and a family, he can't find enough time to build competitive setups and to race as often as he likes. But as luck would have it, Steve knows a secret. He lets the Majors Garage crew chiefs do the setup work, so he can focus on the racing. At majorsgarage.com, Steve can get setups for over 60 cars on the iRacing service. So no matter what series he wants to jump into, he is covered. Somebody, anybody, really should tell Adam. See you at the garage.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Drama happening here as one of the front runners that we just saw have a major incident of Adam Johnson. I think it's safe to say he is out of the race as well. A tough break for him. We'll take a look at the replay here momentarily to see what happened to him as we approach the halfway point. Wayne Hutchinson still your race leader with McCreevy second and Timothy Klaus your top three. But here is Adam Johnson. It looked like he just made a pit stop here, but unfortunately something happened to him. As he was coming out of pit exit, does he end up hitting the barrier or looping it around? Comes into the end pit exit, has to be in the middle of traffic. And so far, locks it up. Keeps on going. We'll have to see what really happened because this was a very interesting situation for him. He was having such a great run. And something broke.
Something broke. Yeah, no, it wasn't just traction.
Yeah, that was hardware malfunction for sure. That broke right there. That was not anything to do with traction or grip. Let's ride on board with him right now.
Like a wheel had to have gotten unplugged or a force feedback motor had to have gone or something because that...
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe a USB cable getting unplugged.
Or cut. Or snipped or something.
Such a hard break. I mean, you hope that the force feedback wasn't connected when he hit, because he hit a ton there.
Yeah, hopefully that was not the case. But right now for Wayne Hutchinson, he will continue to lead the charge here. And he will now come down pit road.
In this race, so far, give or take any chaotic incidents, has basically worked itself into the hands of that 17 machine of Wayne Hutchinson. Such a fast car he's brought here to the Speedway this evening, and really doing a good job putting a hurting on the competition. As you see, as he leaves pit road, he's still got a 12-second advantage or 13-second advantage on the guy in second.
Nope, there he is right there. There's McFerrin. He will take the spot away.
Never mind, I read the cue wrong.
So now it is McGreevy who has yet to come down pit road. So right now, the only drivers who have made a pit stop are Craig Tillison, as well as Timothy Klaus, Hutchinson, and McSparron, who have come down pit road.
Also, be expecting these guys to run quicker laps here than what we've seen so far. Track starting to cloud up, shade up a little bit. Heavy cloud coverage over on this end of the speedway. See a little bit of lockup from the 22 machine of McSparron. Doesn't seem like the lockups have really been hurting these guys tonight, though.
Not a whole lot. They are able to gather it back up and continue on racing for the most part as we watch on and see what McSparron can do. And he is pulled out to a 2-second advantage over Wayne Hutchinson. McGreevy still yet to come down pit road. He's going to try to work his way further, and he will run another lap. Looking over to see the compound choices. McSparron is running the medium compound again like he did in the opening stint. Possibility that we could see 2 pit stops for some of these drivers, especially those who decided to take red tires early on. We could see some drivers further back who may make a red pit stop, and Wayne Hutchinson is actually on the red tires. And that's going to be a big, interesting scenario to see how long he can make it out there. He's making up significant time on McSparron, but how long can he make this and keep this pace up?
I'll tell you what, that could be a good call, too, because we saw Tillison really able to make those tires stretched about lap 22, 23 before he started really having big issues with fall off. And what we saw out of McSparron earlier was that he has incredible short run pace. So find something that will kind of match that. Put a gap on McSparron on this early run. You're still going to come in for tires, what, about 20 or so laps. I mean, why not give yourself, put the ball in your court here. You see
And
McGreevy on pit road now.
McGreevy will come down pit road, so this will give the race lead back to McSparren. He comes out of the final corner, heading down the front straightaway, easily will overtake McGreevy for the race lead. And Hutchinson as well will get around him. The only driver we were concerned about if McGreevy can get ahead of is going to be Don Dolson. Timothy Klaus. So far, he might be able to... Nope, he'll lose the position of Don Dolson. Here comes a couple more drivers coming off pit exit. McGreevy is looking to finish out of 4th position right there, as he has to now deal with Timothy Klaus, who is trying to come down and catch up to him. There you see Timothy Klaus right now trying to get the pressure back on and get himself rolling once again. As the field works their way through, we have 11 cars on the lead lap. 1 driver out of the race, that being Mark Santana. Adam Johnson is going to be back on the racetrack, but unfortunately, he is going to be a lap down. Scott Kukas is 2 laps down, so he's going to have a lot of work to do as well in this race as the field works their way through. And Hutchinson trying to close back into McSparren.
Yeah, had him down to under a second there for a little bit of the lap, but McSparren doing a really good job kicking in the afterburners, pulling that advantage back out. Honestly, I was expecting to see the red tires really fly against your race leader, but at the moment, McSparren's really got the thing dialed in on the mediums.
He certainly does, and he's going to keep on doing that, what he needs to do to try to make up some time on your race leader as he works his way through. But so far, it's only about 0.2 of a second difference between Hutchinson and McSparren as Timothy Klaus sets a burner, sets his personal best lap time with a 14.8.
Yeah, Klaus has been running a really good race. A little bit of heartbreak to start the thing out, spun the car early on. But since he's had that spin, he hasn't really gained or lost any time to the leaders, which makes you, very well aware that he would absolutely be in the thick of it with this hunt for the win. But currently relegated to a 5th place position just because of that one little snap.
Absolutely. Does he have enough time to make up ground to maybe have a shot at the podium? He's got McGreevy and Dolson just up ahead of him by about 2 seconds. So he could make a shot at the podium run, but he's got a little bit of work to do as they head down towards the chicane. As we see on here, McGreevy all over the back bumper of Don Dolson trying to set up a good run around the outside. Not going to work, but they're about to enter the DRS zone heading into Ari Lyondike corner.
Doesn't look like anybody deployed.
Yeah, right there you see, and Don Dolson coming down pit road. That will give the spot to McGreevy and Timothy Klaus, not too far behind. And trying to see here, your top 4 have made pit stops. Dolson, Colty, Eddy, McErney, and Jones have yet to make pit stops. As there you see the driver of Damian Colty sitting in 5th position, making 4 spots gain since the start of the race. A little bit of a lockup right there, but he's able to keep on going and pulls away a little bit from Jeff Eddy, who's right there behind, trying to close back in.
Right now, they've got the camera focused back on your race leader, McSparren, starting to fall under fire from Wayne Hutchinson in 2nd place. Got that, 1.5 advantage reeled back down to about 0.8 of a second.
Good run, right?
Really good laps. Here he is. I think he's on the DRS here. See the spoiler open on the back.
Not close enough, though, to make the pass. He's going to have to wait till they get to the 2nd DRS zone if he wants to have a shot of it as they come out of Tarzan heading through up towards the bank corners that we see towards the middle section. Goes right up to the top. And he works his way through these S's right here. He is trying to put the pressure on, and he is running faster lap times here. He was about a second faster last time by than your race leader, and he is trying to put the pressure on and get back this race lead. A couple of laps to go before we hit the halfway point.
McSparren doing a really good job holding strong with those yellow tires over the 2nd place's reds. Hutchinson doing everything he can to try and carve into that advantage, but kind of keeps hitting a stalemate every opportunity he gets.
Well, the biggest thing that why he's doing that is he's dealing with the aero wash that's coming from the back of McFerrin's Mercedes. If it wasn't for that aero wash that he's doing, it'll be a lot easier for him to get by. That's why he's got to hit the mark so well and get that toe plus the DRS in order to try and make this pass on McFerrin here. And he's going to get a good run out of there, but he's not close enough to make up any ground onto Jason McFerrin right at the moment. Wayne Hutchinson going to back down. He's going to lose a 10th last time by. As we see McFerrin go into turn number 1 and have some lap traffic up ahead of him, that being Craig Tillison up ahead. Oh, I'm sorry, that's Ronald McPherson up ahead of him. Apologies on that. Who is about to go 2 laps down.
Yeah, McPherson giving it all he's got, but unfortunately today just not the day for him. Right now, the most important thing is, you know, you got that leader behind you. You kind of just want to stay out of the way as best you can. You see him moving off line here.
Gives him as much room as he can and lets him by. Lets the second place driver by before they enter the chicane would be a smart move as well, and does so accordingly.
That aero wash that he put on the 22 machine really closed that gap between him and Hutchison. And I think if there's been an opportunity here, if there's been an opportunity so far, this would be the one for Hutchison.
Deploys the DRS and makes a good run out of the final corner of Ari Leyendyke, but he's not close enough to really try anything heading into turn number 1 here. 14.9 to a 15.4, but that just the aero wash plus also not close enough to try anything right there is going to do that as McPherson goes off.
Oh, and a hard impact.
Nothing significant to the nose or the front wing of that car.
No, I thought that left front tire was locked up. It looks like the toe's gone, though.
Look. So we saw right there, but he was able to recover. But unfortunately, a little bit of gravel on those tires. As we'll take a hard rewind here on this situation.
If he didn't tear that thing up, man, he is the luckiest guy here tonight.
That was something right there, because he absolutely didn't make any contact.
Let's get the thing on board if we can.
Oh, just inches from the wall.
Just barely. If that asphalt wasn't there for the access road, for the safety vehicles, that would have been a day breaker. It's just really tight here. Oh, that is so close. I mean, he popped that left rear a little bit, but it was significantly better than it could have been.
Absolutely. As we are back live here, and McFerrin still holding strong over Wayne Hutchison for the moment. And away they go as we go back up to McCreevy, who sits in third. He's got a 4-second advantage over Timothy Klaus, who's trying to catch back up. There you see Klaus crossing the line. He's got some work to do. Eddie's almost half a lap behind.
It just goes to show you how much pace is in these first handful of cars. Your leaders brought rockets this evening.
They absolutely have. We'll keep an eye on the battle for the race lead, because Hutchinson is trying to close back in on this fight. And up through the corners they will go, and here they come out of the corner, and Hutchinson gets a good run trying to get the power down. McFerrin, though, gets another good run here. Last time by, Hutchinson faster in Sector 2 that time compared to your race leader.
Yeah, McFerrin's doing a really good job altering lines to try and compensate for that momentum that Hutchinson's making corner center. Running a little bit higher on the track. It's really been helping him through some of those technical parts of the course. But as you see, back on the DRS here on the front straightaway.
Oh, trouble. There goes McPherson.
That time, he wasn't as lucky.
No, he was not. Take a look at the replay to see what happened to Ronald McPherson. And he was having Timothy Klaus, I believe, around him during this moment. Lets him go. And cuts through the gravel trap, unfortunately. Tries to get the power down.
I think he's going to try and put the power down on dirty tires, and it just snapped on him.
Yep. Plus hard contact into the side pod right there. That will send him down into the pits. And will possibly be joining the driver of both Scott Kukas, Bruce Jones also on pit road. What happened to Bruce Jones in the number 5?
Oh, the wing is definitely not there anymore.
Same area that we saw from the driver Ronald McPherson, and just goes onto the curbing.
Yeah, there's a lot of dirt on the track surface there, so that could have possibly been a part of the problem.
So that puts Jones, Kukas, and Ronald McPherson on pit road. Mark Santana is out of the race. Then you have Adam Johnson, Brian Scribner, and Steve Paulison 1 lap down.
Watching McGreevy flying down the front straightaway there. The shading of the cloud has really helped us pinpoint exactly how low the cars are running here. As you saw a whole bunch of sparks flying out from underneath that machine. A little bit of an alternate line there. Getting up into that runoff a little bit.
He was able to keep on going. Ronald McPherson does rejoin the racetrack here, and he will be able to leapfrog both Bruce Jones and Scott Kukas for the 14th spot. See how that all plays out. But for Don Dolson, he's going to hold on in the 6th position as we watch McCreevy try to work his way through. Dolson's 3 seconds back from Jeff Eddy here, who's trying to stay ahead as we pick up McCreevy. 4 seconds ahead of Timothy Klaus.
Right now, looks like that lead's tightening up for a second here. McSparron closing back in on your, or Hutchison closing back in on your race leader. McSparron just a little bit, but man, McSparron's just doing such a good job holding this 17 machine at bay. And this time, 17's got a little bit of a timer for how long he's got to make the pass, because those softs are going to fall off at some point.
Yeah, they certainly are, and I'm looking to see how his lap times are. They are running identical lap times last time by, and as they work their way through last sector time by, they were almost running identical sector laps here. We'll see what they do as they come through sector 2 here momentarily. And it was a 25.97 to a 26.04 between the two of them, so Hutchins is getting some pace somewhere on the track, but just not able to close the deal for him and make a run.
It's out of that final corner and onto that front straightaway. This is where he's making up his most time, I feel. But once we get into that, into those sharp corners and those S turns, really makes it difficult, because like you were talking about that aero wash earlier, and you can see it play out. You see how close he gets here, and you're just going to watch him fall off here.
Gets a good run through here, but just not able to pick up the pace that he needs in order to make the run towards your race leader of McSparron. He was faster by about 2/10 last time by. As they come through the sector, he was a 10th faster than McSparron in that sector 1. He is really getting the pressure on. The thing is, with that aero wash is detrimental to him to where he can get a good run through. So far, not working out for him. As how about McGreevy trying to pick up the pace? He just set a personal sector best lap time for him as he is trying to get up some positions, 13 seconds back from your race leaders.
Yeah, and he has been closing on these guys up at the front, because it was about a 15-second advantage. He's really doing a good job carving into that lead.
Yeah, last time by, he ran a 14.18 compared to everyone else who ran a 14.9 or 14.7s.
Also, look at Eddie working his way up here into the top 5.
Yeah, Eddie having a good run. He's 45 seconds back, and he's half a second advantage over Don Dolson right now. There you see those two battling for the 5th position. Dolson putting on a good run here. You're on board with him as he tries to find the way to get to the inside. Can't find the opening he needs to get around Eddie here for the moment.
That's definitely a good angle to take that corner. Here he comes with a deep dive into the chicane, and Eddie's going to go off track here. I want to be careful about that transition back on, though, because we've seen a couple guys snap the second they put the power down. See if it works out for Eddie.
Looks like so far. So good. And he's going to fall into the clutches of Philip Otto, unfortunately, with that situation. And here comes Craig Tillison as trouble for Scott Kukas.
Yeah, that's going to be a tow for him.
Absolutely a tow for him down on the pit road. He slows. I'm guessing letting the leaders by, but unfortunately, when he tries to put the power back down, loops it around.
I mean, it's 1,000+ horsepower in a vehicle that weighs about as much as a pack of gum.
It certainly is, in a way, a good way to put it. 30 laps to go as we have on pit. McKinney is back on pit road. He must have had issues somewhere out on the track as we go back up to your race leader, McSparren, as Hutchinson has fallen off 2.5 seconds due to the fact of those tires falling off the pace.
Yeah, it was inevitable. I mean, Hutchinson was trying everything he could to try and get to the 22 machine. McSparren just was not able to seal the deal. And, you know, at this point in the first stint, you really saw Hutchinson starting to kick up the pace, get up there to him. But just on those soft tires, that fall-off curve's really not going to play into his favor. And I think McSparren's going to run away with this stint.
He is going to start to do so as he tries to pull away further and further. It's now 2.3 seconds separating them as they work their way up to the top of the hill and now heading over into the Ari Lyondike corner. So far, it's going to be critical. Track temperature's getting a little bit more hotter, 89 degrees. It was 79, so we picked up 10 degrees on the track here with these drivers out on the circuit. As McSparren is doing what he needs to do and starts to pull away further and further from Wade Hutchinson.
Also wondering, too, at the same time, right? Like, how many adjustments can you make on these cars?
Oh,
What are the options on pit road compared to, you know, what we are used to seeing?
Well, give me a few moments. I can tell you that here. But the biggest things you can make some adjustments to is you can make adjustments on the pit stop to the wing angles as well, to how the air flows over those front wings. There's also some adjustments you can make to the braking systems on here, as well as also just handling of cars at certain points. I'll give you a little more facts here in a few moments.
That makes me wonder if maybe McSparren came down and thought, ran a little light on downforce on that first stint. Throw a little bit at the front, a little bit at the rear. Make that car, you know, hug to the ground just a little bit better. Because he's definitely had that handling that he didn't have on the first run. You know, it looked like he was really struggling with his corners at the tail end of that first stint. This time, you know, he's pretty much locked and loaded, glued into the track.
He absolutely is, and continues to do some significant work, working his way up through the field as he tries to run some very incredible lap times in this late stages of this run.
He's doing a terrific job at holding somebody that I thought really had the best long-run vehicle out here today, Hutchinson at bay. Hutchinson still 2 seconds back. Now 12 seconds back. Carved another second into that advantage. Back in third place, McGreevy. Really doing a good job logging quick laps here. Might not have the time to do anything with it, but man, good recovery for him.
Absolutely, and he is really putting on a lot of information to try to get himself situated around this circuit. And as he continues to do so, Hutchinson tries to get back on the power to close the gap back up. It's now down to 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, he does a good job closing it, but once he gets to that 1.5 mark, it just looks like he completely loses the front end of that car.
Certainly is, and he is struggling for that part of the racetrack, that middle sector. He is losing a ton of time, and that's where he's able to get away, and McSparren starts to pull that gap. We're closing in here on just about under 30 laps to go for your race leaders. It is still McSparren with a 1.7 second advantage over Wayne Hutchinson, and everyone else is just trying to jockey for position all inside the top 9. We're going to step aside here, take a few moments, say thank you to our sponsors. You're watching Grid Vision's coverage of the majors live for the Dutch Grand Prix, only on Grid Vision.
You know that guy who just before the green flag keys up his mic and asks, "Anybody got a setup?" Well, this is him. This is Adam, and hey, Adam needs some help. On the other hand, this guy over here, this is Steve. Steve is a solid racer, and he knows his way around the garage. Steve's problem is time. With a job and a family, he can't find enough time to build competitive setups and to race as often as he likes. But as luck would have it, Steve knows a secret. He lets the Major's garage crew chiefs do the setup work, so he can focus on the racing. At majorsgarage.com, Steve can get setups for over 60 cars on the iRacing service. So no matter what series he wants to jump into, he is covered. Somebody, anybody, really should tell Adam. See you at the garage.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Grid Vision's coverage of the Major Series live for the virtual Dutch Grand Prix in Zandvoort. Taylor Burris here with Sheldon Atkins, Austin Derbyshire, our producer, as we're closing in on 22 laps to go for your race leader. It is Jason McSparron who is your race leader as we are taking a look at some incidents that happened. Philip Otto having some issues in that purple and black machine. Mercedes hits the curbing a little too much and loops it around. Goes backwards for a brief second, tries to get it back up. Hopefully no one makes contact with him. And he'll spin it back and go the right way and continue on with his racing action. He currently sits PA8 and in more trouble for frontrunner Adam Johnson early on in the race. Same
Rinse.
area that's been catching a lot of drivers. Oh, as he had to avoid
he
another
caught the
driver.
dirt. Oh, man. He snapped it down to avoid hitting another car and just caught the dirt that we've seen plaguing a handful of these guys when they try to get these things corrected.
He was trying to avoid Ronald McPherson right there, and there he goes through the grass once again. And hard into the inside or the outside tire barrier. Unfortunately, that will put him back on pit road and possibly out of the race. We only have a limited amount.
I think he ready to shoot up that fast repair, so.
Yeah, he is safe to say he should be out of the race after that situation, unfortunately. But
here.
McGreevy's made up a ton of time. He is now up to 7 seconds behind your race leader and closing. Last time by, he ran a 14.5. Everyone else, a 15.3 or a 15.6 between McFerrin and Wayne Hutchinson. So McGreevy looking to try to take the fight to your front runners. He has enough time to do it. It's just a matter of trying to pass them is going to be the bigger issue.
Yeah, he's just got to keep on these consistent qualifying laps. This excellent pace that he's had. He just has to keep hitting those marks to get up there to your race leaders. Now he's got it down under 7 seconds, up to 6.5 seconds now. Really flying and coming on strong into the late stages of this event.
Let's see what he did in Sector 1. He did a 25.8 in Sector 1 compared to 26.7 and a 27.0 from your front two. And let's see what he can do in Sector 2, because Sector 2 for McFerrin is a 25.9. Same thing with Wayne Hutchinson. So let's see what he can do here. As they come over into Sector 2 for the moment between these drivers. He's really putting the power down and trying to make up some time. He has lost a little bit right there, but he's still got to work to do. As Wayne Hutchinson is on pit road.
Yeah, I think he's probably giving up on those reds, coming down, throwing 4 fresh tires, get the thing back on. He knows that he's not catching McFerrin at this point on what he's got underneath him now, so going to throw on another set of reds here. Short stint, 20 laps to go. There's McFerrin, 6 seconds ahead of second place McGreevy.
Here they come through the field, and so far, so good. As McGreevy sets his sights, Wayne Hutchinson now 24 seconds back. Now the question is going to be, will McFerrin respond and come down pit road as well? That's going to be the critical point to see how this will play out. Steve Paulson also came down pit road. He is now back out onto the track. So we'll see how this plays out for some of these drivers here in the stage of the race. It's been about 20 laps since we've seen the driver Brian McGreevy on pit road, and almost pushing 30 laps as here comes McFerrin to respond.
I wonder what tires McFerrin's going to throw on. He's been on mediums the whole race.
Keep a track of that here as he comes down into his pit box. Could we possibly one day see, oh, he puts the reds on. That's going to be interesting to see how that plays out for him in this 20-lap dash to the finish. But one thing I got to say, though, can we possibly one day soon see on iRacing just 20 pit stop animators all right there trying to just hold the car, change the tires on these cars, and release them in under 5 seconds?
That would be insane to see. I mean, we see it with the NASCAR stuff, you know? You get to see the pit crew jump over the wall. And hashtag soon.
Big developmental update we can talk about here that just released earlier this week, as some brand new content, some new tracks are coming to 2025 Season 1 build. No open wheel cars coming to the build here this time, but we do have, trouble for one driver. Who was that? Was that Johnson again? Well, that was Greg McGeeney right there who had an issue. Let's take a look and see what happened to him. Go back and see if we can get it a little bit before the loop around. Here we go, a little early on, and there we'll see what happened to him. A little too much curbing, putting the power down, and loops it around.
That's the corner we've seen all the issue out of tonight.
Absolutely.
And it can consistently be attributed to just the amount of dirt that is on the track just outside of the racing groove. Come a little offline there, try to put the power down. The next thing you know, that thing's going to light up those back tires and we're going to go. and there is no time to react to catch that, because once it's gone, it's gone.
Absolutely. And that was one of the key points that they were talking about here on iRacing, was the fact that we will see more of that happening. So when drivers go off track and spray all the gravel, grass, and dirt, that's going to get put back onto the track here. And that's going to cause a lot of excitement and how your car will handle when going through those areas when a car does go off track.
Look, I'm just grateful that we've made it nearly 20 years on iRacing without them throwing Speedy Dry down every time we wreck in the NASCAR stuff. So let's keep that toothpaste back in the jar.
Absolutely. But back on the point of the 2025 Season 1 build, some new exciting content coming on board. Of course, we will see the Gen 3 V8 supercars coming on board with iRacing, as they were so close to being released this current build, but unfortunately couldn't make it, so they'll be added to the 2025 Season 1, as we see one driver coming down pit road ahead of McGreevy, who is going to work his way through. That was Timothy Klaus, who's coming down pit road for his pit stop. McSparren is back up in front. Wayne Hutchinson 2.7 seconds behind as the field works their way through. Under 20 laps to go. Another thing also to talk about is some new content. The Acura NSX GT3 car, the BMW CS2 machine, a rookie level car, will be free to the public when it releases. But the big surprise for car update is the fact that we will see the first ever hypercar. Not the GTP cars that we have on iRacing, such as the Cadillac, the Acura, the BMW, and the Porsche. Nope, we're going to see the prancing horse itself, the 2 times 24 Hours of Le Mans winner, the Ferrari 499P, added to the platform in 2025 Season 1, along with also Huset Speedway, dirt track located up in the Montana-Dakota area, and the Thruxton Racing Circuit located over in the UK. Don't worry, Oval fans, your content will be coming in 2025 Season 2 by the sound of it, with the Gen 4 Cup cars coming on board, along with some updates to the ARCA car. The Indy car will get a physics update, along with a complete overhaul to the Legends as trouble for Timothy Klaus. Loops it around again.
Oh, and I think it's the same area he did the first time too, isn't it?
Nope, that was on the other side of the track. So this was in the final corner over by Ari Lyondike here. He'll cut into the DRS zone, gets the power down. I think he hits that grass right there, loops it around. You don't want to go below that curbing.
Hit them clibbins, Hoss. Rough break. Rough break for Klaus, because he's run such a good race, such a good recovery from that earlier incident. Good news for him, though. Closest car behind him was still about 5 seconds back.
Yeah, that's going to be the driver of Craig Tillison right there behind in 5th position. He's closing about 5 seconds back, like you pointed out.
Yeah, but I think once Klaus is able to get them tires dusted off, get some heat in it, get his confidence levels built back up, I think that he's going to be able to run away from Tillison, because Klaus has just been so good all night. Just with a couple minor incidents that they stack up so quick, especially when we don't have cautions.
Especially, we haven't had a single caution. We've had plenty of chaos all throughout the night here today. 3 cars are out of the race. That is McPherson, Kukas, and Santana. 14 cars are on the racetrack with a total of 7 on the lead lap. And how about this? We are seeing some blistering lap times here between your top 3. We see Brian McGreevy setting the fastest lap of the race with a 1:12.56. And McSparren and Hutchins setting personal best as well. McGreevy is closing in. Does he have enough time, though, with under 15 to go?
Just don't know, man. We've gotten so late into this thing. He's going to need some pretty big mistakes or a lot of racing out of your top 2. But also something that we didn't hit on, last run, Hutchison ran the soft tires, McSparren ran the mediums. And it benefited McSparren because he didn't fall prey to the tire fall off the same way that Hutchison did. You got these two on matched tires now. It is a matched race between the two of them. I'm wondering how the tire fate's going to favor the 17 machine as opposed to the 22.
All 3 drivers in the top 3 are on the red soft tires here. So this is all for nothing. All the marbles to see who comes out on top. Just a matter of who takes care of those tires and also who can set the faster laps here in the closing stages of the race. It's 4.3 seconds separating McSparren and Hutchins. It's about 3 seconds separating Hutchins and McGreevy.
Yeah, McGreevy is charging really hard right now.
He just set the fastest lap of the race as well. Again, a 12:39. Hutchins a 12:7. McSparren a 12:8. He is all over.
Oh, we got one around.
On. As Don
right
Dulson,
in front of your leader.
Close call for Don Dulson and your race leader McSparren. He's able to continue on, but so far he's going to go a lap down, putting 6 cars on the lead lap.
Right on here, on board with Dulson here. Goes through that
Same
chicane.
area.
A little tight, gets a little bit of dirt. And yeah, same spot. Does a good job, though. He catches it. Tears up that left front tire, though. That's going to be a huge problem for him. Going to have to get that fixed.
And last time by McSparren responds setting a faster lap than McGreevy by about 0.2 of a second. He's trying to work his way and manage the gap for your race lead as 3.9 seconds. So Hutchin is kicking in the afterburners as well as McGreevy, but do they have enough time as we see McSparren now have to negotiate lap traffic?
Yeah, that's right here. They're running side by side in front of them.
Oh!
They both get out of the way.
They certainly do. I thought for a second right there, McSparren's going to loop it around right there coming out of the corner, but he was able to do a great job of holding on to it, and he gets plenty of breathing room now of Hutchinson and McGreevy. Put the DRS into activation zone as here comes Hutchins to get to the back bumper of the driver of Don Dulson. He can use his DRS package to try to close the gap and see if he can get around these lap cars quickly as possible as we're closing in 12 laps to go.
Not able to get it done there, though.
Not close enough to try anything at the moment. He's going to have to try again here to set himself up for a bit of a run as McSparren holding strong. There you see Hutchin 4 seconds back. And it looks like it's starting to fade a little bit here for the driver in the number 17.
I'll tell you what, Hutchinson's such a fast car, but it just seems like since the first stint, anytime he's ended up any kind of traffic, it's really hurt him. As you see right now, he's really struggling with his lap machine in front of him.
Now what will he do? He's got to find his opening quickly, but not make a mistake as he tries to find his way around. But the driver ahead of him is really putting that emphasis on not conceding the position for the time on the track as he kicks in the DRS, heading into the braking zone. Is he going to send it? Nope, just going to stay tucked up behind for the moment.
Struggling heavily here and losing so much time because now McGreevy is right within spitting distance of him, just a second back.
Finds the opening finally to get around position and sets his sights. Now we'll see what McGreevy can do, how quickly he can get around the lap car.
See McGreevy line up right behind him here, going to get out of the way.
Quickly will McGreevy find his way to get around the lap car. And he is going to put the pressure on Wayne Hutchinson right here. He's got a good run. He's going to try something to the inside. Beautiful pass that we were not expecting. He moves up to P2.
That was a ballsy move there because you saw him dip 2 tires completely into the grass to make that maneuver. Somehow able to keep the grip with that machine and make the pass. Now 6 seconds and a handful of lap cars separates him from your race leader, with just over 11 laps to go.
Does he have enough time to make the charge? It is 6.7 seconds. Last time by, McGreevy ran a 12.7. McSparren a 13.6. He's a second faster last time by, and he is going to give it all here. But he's stuck behind a lap car. He's got to get around it quickly as he works his way through the R.A. Lion Dyke corner. Big momentum as we see the lap car concede away and give the racing line to the driver of Brian McGreevy.
Now clean track for a while here for McGreevy. What he's really going to need is for McSparren to either make a huge mistake or get caught up in lap traffic.
It's 7 seconds of difference, 10 laps to go. Let's find out as we watch McGreevy take the fight over to McSparren. And Wayne Hutchinson still stuck behind Don Dulson.
There's something about that car. It has not been treating him right when he's in traffic.
Finally gets around Don Dulson.
I don't think that Dulcin's going to be in the Christmas card list this year.
I have to agree on that matter, as we see him now give way and has to continue on. He sits sixth position, the first car 1 lap down. He's got Colty behind him trying to close up along with Eddie. So he's in a fight right now as well to hold that sixth spot.
Also, for comparison, that was an 8-second loss for Hutchinson in traffic.
It was not a good look for him.
Just heartbreak. Watching Eddie try to make the move here. Not able to get anything done on this front straightaway.
Nope, nothing at the moment. He's going to stay in the 8th position. He's going to see if he can try to set up a pass here, but Colty, he's doing all that he needs to keep the driver of the 126 behind. On board with Colty, and gotta say it's pretty cool to see iRacing now utilize the hand animations for these drivers to show you them working hard, shifting away, going through 8 different gears at multiple different points throughout the racetrack to get the most possible speed around this circuit.
I tell you, man, the past 3 or 4 years, the content updates for the service have been probably some of the best that I have ever seen. You know, I've been here since 2016. You know, it seemed like, oh, here's slightly different looking smoke textures. You know, when I first got here, the dirt, you can see the dirt come off the tires when the cars spin out through the grass. And you know, the past few years, it's just like every season we get such massive updates that completely change the game for just about everything.
I've been on here since 2012, so I've seen everything happening in the continuous updates that iRacing has worked hard to bring each and every single one of its customers, to bring some of the most exciting forms of motor racing in the virtual world, and continues to do so with all of its amazing world championships, its official series, and the great communities that build leagues like we see here with the majors, one of the largest iRacing leagues in the business here. And this is why, because of the different plethora of different cars and track combinations. I can only imagine what 2025 will bring for this organization as they kick off another great season ahead.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man, in a world where it feels like every developer and publisher is just letting us down as far as, you know, being a motorsports fan goes, iRacing is the one thing that truly just hits home, man. They get it every time.
Absolutely. As we ride on board with McSparran, he starting to lose a little bit of time, though, to Brian McGreevy. He's now lost 2 seconds since we last checked in on him. It's 5.5 seconds separating your top two.
Yeah, if you see traffic form up here in front of this 22 machine of McSparran, I think that might be the kiss of death for his chances of winning this thing, because McGreevy has just been flying.
Absolutely. He was a second faster than McSparran last time by, as we're on board with McGreevy, who finds his way around some lap traffic quickly, and as they work their way through, keeping an eye, seeing what can happen in the closing stages, as Joe Homan is calling and giving a big attaboy to both McGreevy and Timothy Klaus, both running in second in the 4th positions. And I have to say, how interesting the top split event has been.
I imagine it's been a barn burner up there. But also, another tip of the cap, though, to Klaus. You know, two mistakes in this race that could have really gone sour for him. Still sitting in that 4th position.
Keeping an eye here on this battle for position as we watch to see can McGreevy close the gap in the final few moments of the race here. And keeping an eye up ahead. So far, so good, as McSparran still holds strong here in the race.
Yeah, McSparran looking good, but McGreevy just slowly ticking into that every corner.
We can confirm checker flag has fallen over in the top split event here for the majors. Ross Benefield is your winner there with Christian Challoner and Ozzie Milwane, your top 3 finishers in that event. 30 cars started that event.
That's some familiar names right there.
Absolutely. And Christian Challoner also will collect the championship for the Pacific region. Congratulations to him. So we'll congratulate our champions here through tonight, as this is the finale before we get to the Iron Warriors, the special event, free event for all those who are interested in participating in December. But for Jason McSparron, he is continuing to try to hold on, as him and McGreevy are battling fast lap after fast lap in the closing stages of this race. We're closing in on 5 laps to go.
Take a look ahead, though. I think I saw a lap car just poking off in the distance in front of McSparron, ever so slightly out there.
It's now under 5 seconds here between your top 2 as they work their way around the circuit. Can McSparron get around lap traffic quickly and cleanly? That is going to be the lap car of Tillison, who is about to go a lap down here. Will Tillison concede, not put too much of a fight for McSparron? And there you see further back some more drivers closing in. I believe that was the driver, though, of Adam Johnson behind him in 10th position.
Right now, you see McGreevy starting to really close in now, under 4 seconds, 4.7 here down the straightaway. I mean, brain rot, man. It's striking.
4.8 seconds between the top 2 right now in the closing stages. Take a look at the replay to see what has happened to the driver of Adam Johnson. Did the famous chicane strike again?
I'm thinking it might. Johnson.
Yep.
Johnson's had such a fast car at the start of this thing, and he just had a bad go of it since.
Tough break right there, and McGreevy 4.7 seconds back with 5 laps to go.
I'll tell you what, if he's going to want to get up there to McSparron, he's going to have to be up on the wheel every second of these last 5 laps. I don't think it's possible unless there's a huge mistake out of that 22 machine. We've noticed one thing tonight: he does not make mistakes.
Yeah, last time by he ran a 13.5, McSparron a 13.7. That's not enough time to make up ground and break into that 5-second gap. And in fact, in Sector 2, a personal best for Jason McSparron with a 25.0. So he is really trying to get the run going for him as best that he can here as they make their way over to the Ari Lyondike corner.
There you go. You see that advantage start to dip. Got that wing wide open. Not able to close much there, though.
Not a whole lot indeed. We're going to see how it works their way through. So far, it's going to be critical amongst the 2 of them. Good Sector 1, though, for McGreevy. He set a 25.9 last time by to a 26.5. He's starting to make up some ground. Yeah, we're looking through the
field here. There's Otto, P8.
There's Eddie in P9, who's trying to make up some ground here as well to see if he can move further up in the standing. And he's going to make a run to the inside. Otto went too wide, and Eddie moves up to 8th position.
A good quiet night for Eddie here in the top 10.
Pretty much been inside the top between 8th and 10th since the start of the race here, and has managed to do well. He has started in 11th, but he stayed in around that position of 8th and through 10th here all night long, doing a great job, looking to just make sure he hits his marks as we get 3 laps to go for your leaders, a 13.2 to a 14.9 between your top 2.
Yeah, and look at that advantage now. 3 seconds remaining between your race leaders.
McGreevy gets a great run around Tillison to put him around a lap.
McGreevy is on it. If he keeps on like this, man, he will be just within a stone's throw when we come to that white flag.
Good fight here in the closing stages. Can McGreevy find his way to catch up to McSparren? He's going to try to put the pressure on. Oh, goes off track a
no, he
little
blows
bit.
it.
That's not what he needs, and he will lose that time here in this run in Sector 1 as he comes across. So far, and then McSparren, he sets a personal best in the Sector 2, and he's going to try to continue on here, coming to get the popsicle sticks. 2 laps to go, as there you see McGreevy closing in quickly, but not quick enough, and running out of time.
I'll tell you what, man, if it wasn't for that lock up there going wide, McGreevy could have potentially brought it to him. But, man, the guy to beat all night has been that 22 machine of McSparren, and he's shown us exactly why. Completely calculated, mistake-free laps, one after another.
He has been very calm, collective, calculative. Not a single mistake here for the number 22 machine as he will work his way through. Up through the top of the hill he will go and just continue his smooth run to the finish here at Zandvoort.
I'll tell you what, if he is able to seal the steel, man, it has been well earned.
Absolutely a well-earned victory, a decisive victory in this hunt as he works his way through the final couple of corners to get the white flag and heading towards the area where everyone's had a mistake here through the chicane. So far, so good. Into the braking zone he will go. Hits his mark. No pressure, no problem. McGreevy 3 seconds back, but not really gaining as much ground as he needs to as he tries to come around one more time for Jason McSparren. The white flag in the air for him at Zandvoort in the Formula One cars and looking to try to capitalize to cap off the season here in the majors.
Good clean turn one. You know the guy behind you is 4 seconds back. No need to push too hard and throw yourself into a compromising situation.
Ooh, little lockup right there, but no pressure. He's still got plenty of breathing room. But McGreevy gets a good run through there. 3.4 seconds. Got to be careful. You got the final lap. This is no need to make a mistake. Just hit your marks. And you can bring it home as there you see McGreevy.
Slow and easy at this point. 3-second advantage.
Focused in, zoomed in on this battle here as we watch to see how well Jason McSparren keeps on with this fight to the front of the field. Heading down into the final couple of corners, into the chicane. Smooth and consistent. Not a single mistake as he approaches the R.A. Lyondike corner for the final time here at Zandvoort. McGreevy trying everything he can, but it's too little, too late for Jason McSparren. Out of the final corner, checkered flag. He will win the virtual Dutch Grand Prix.
What a well-earned victory, man. That
Absolutely.
right there shows consistency. Still the most important thing when it comes to road racing.
And Wayne Hutchinson will round out your podium. Here comes Timothy Klaus a little further back, almost a full minute back from your race leader. He's looking to round out the 4th position. Tillison already came across the line to finish in 5th. But Timothy Klaus, a good recovery even after the 2 major mistakes that he had in the race, both at the beginning and towards the end of the race. But he will come home in 4th position. A little bit further back is between Scribner and Adam Johnson. Scribner will finish in P10 ahead of Johnson, and that will pretty much be every one of the front runners coming around. But for Jason McSparren, he will collect victory here in amazing fashion. Congratulations to him. We're going to step aside, take a few words to say thank you to our amazing partners, and hopefully get the chance to talk to your race winner. You're watching Grid Vision's coverage of the Majors Virtual Dutch Grand Prix live on Grid Vision. Welcome back to Grid Vision's coverage of the Major Series Virtual Dutch Grand Prix from Zandvoort with the Formula One cars. It is Jason McFerrin, your race winner, holding off Brian McGreevy in the closing stages, with Wayne Hutchinson rounding out your podium finish. Timothy Klaus will come home P4 with Craig Tillison in 5th position. Don Dulson, Jeffrey Eddy, Damian Colty, Phil Otto, Brian Scribner rounds out your top 10. Then it's Adam Johnson, Stephen Paulison, Bruce Jones, and Greg McEnny, who will round out your cars who finished the race in 14th. Ronald McPherson, Scott Kukas, Mark Santana did not finish. Tough break for those 3 competitors here in the finale here in the Major Series. But we do get a chance to talk to one of our race winners. That is Jason McSparron, who joins us up here in the booth. And we are here with your race winner, Jason McSparron. You have a copy.
Hey, how's it going?
We're doing absolutely well, but Jason, I got to say, an incredible performance for you here tonight at Zandvoort with these cars. I got to say, you're one of the only few drivers who didn't loop it around out of the chicanes in the middle section of the circuit.
I put enough time in practicing all week, and if it wasn't for the help of the rest of the Kingsman guys, I wouldn't have done as well as I did tonight. We were talking and working on our stuff all week, and I just want to thank those guys for all the help, and it was a lot of fun. I was nervous on the first stint with the yellows. I burnt them off pretty hard. I was running pretty hard to try and stay in front.
Yeah, absolutely, but I got to say, a great way to kick off or wrap up the season for you. I mean, any other plans for you going into 2024 and further into 2025?
I'm planning to run all the 2025 races. I may be making a portable sim to take with me on vacations. I just recently retired, so we're going to be doing some traveling. So if I may not be home, but I'm going to be doing some race control, hopefully for the Major Series next year too, along with driving in the Pacific region.
Absolutely. Well, Jason, before we let you go, anyone you'd like to give a thank you to or shout out to?
My wife for putting up with me being in the race sim all week, and thanks to the Kingsman folks for all of the help all year when I was around, and helping me the last couple of years, making me feel welcome at Kingsman Racing.
Absolutely. Your race winner, Jason McFerrin, wins the virtual Dutch Grand Prix as Sheldon Atkins has caught up with our second place finisher, Mr. Brian McGreevy.
And Brian, you were honestly the only person that looked like they could put pressure to your race leader, Jason McFerrin, at the end of the race. Where did you find the pace? Because we didn't really have you circled the first 3/4 of the event, man, but those last like 15, 20 laps, you were hauling.
Yeah, I kind of had to shake off that big mistake I made in the beginning, where I hurt my teammate. So once I shook that off, things looked a lot better for me.
I know you were absolutely looking great out there today. Was it that you really think that you needed to get up there and get toe-to-toe with McFerrin there in that last stint?
Oh, I did. I wanted up there so bad, but wasn't to be. We ran a great race, well-deserved win.
Absolutely. Well, I guess the long, grueling season comes to an end here for you guys. You looking forward? You gonna be running again with the majors next season?
Oh yeah, definitely. And our next race is the Ironman race, which is always a lot of fun. I look forward to that one every year.
Yeah, man. Well, hey, anybody you want to thank for this P2 performance today?
Oh yeah, my teammates. They put a lot of setup work into this. Really helped out a lot. Coaching, Ross is an amazing coach. That's very helpful. And I'd also like to dedicate this to my cousin, Todd, who passed away a few weeks ago. And I know my Aunt Julie is watching, and I just want to say I love you, and thanks for supporting us.
We're so sorry for your loss, but thank you for coming up here and taking the time with us, and looking forward to seeing you in the Ironman.
All right. Thank you.
Have a good night.
And with that, I think it's safe to say that will conclude our coverage here tonight for the virtual Dutch Grand Prix from Circuit Zandvoort. Sheldon, got the chance to see some great racing action all throughout the season here in the majors, whether it be oval racing at the high banks of Daytona, to the short tracks of Richmond, to 24 hours of racing at Le Mans, to seeing Formula One cars and Indy cars do battle, and had a wider range of amazing drivers coming out to battle in each of these events.
Yeah, it's been an absolute blast. The couple opportunities I've had to sit up here in the booth, got to be here for Indy, got to be here for Richmond, and to round it out here at Zandvoort was an absolute blast. And looking forward to more of these things in the future.
Absolutely. But for the entire Grid Vision family, and as well as for tonight's broadcast group presented by myself, Sheldon Atkins, and Austin Derbyshire, as well as the amazing camera work that we are able to see, I'm Taylor Burris. Thank you for tuning into this coverage on Grid Vision, and we'll see you next time on the grid.